Course menus showcasing Italian and French flavors and techniques while highlighting local seasonal ingredients alongside some of the best products from around the globe at the new restaurant AFICI. And joining us now with more is Executive Chef Eric Upper. Chef Eric, thank you so much for joining us here on Live in the Bay.
Oh, thank you for having me.
Of course. Now, do you prefer Chef Eric or Eric here on Live in the Bay?
Generally just Eric.
Okay, so let's talk about your career as a chef before we get into AFICI, which just opened this past weekend. How has your experience helped shape your overall view, not just in the restaurant industry, but as a chef as a whole?
You know, I really made it a point in my career to kind of travel around and see a lot of different things and really kind of like hit a bunch of different stuff, lived in different places. So I feel like at this point in my career, I'm a very well-rounded chef and like just restaurant professional.
Mm-hmm. That makes sense, because with experience comes so much more knowledge. Now, does a specific highlight in your career stand out to you that really taught you, I don't know, some lessons that you brought into creating this new restaurant and this new menu?
Oh, absolutely. I did 3 years at Joel Robuchon in Las Vegas, which like Joel Robuchon's one of the best chefs that ever was. And I feel like when I walked in that kitchen, it just kind of totally changed my like outlook on cooking and management and everything. I feel like that was a big vocal point in my career.
Mm-hmm. And how do you take what you learned there and incorporate it now into AFICI?
Well, that restaurant kind of like taught me like elegance and like refinement. So, I mean, it's kind of what I do every day now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, what kind of an experience will someone have when they go to your new restaurant, AFICI?
I'd like to think it's like all-encompassing. From when you go in the front door to when you leave, you're just kind of pampered, taken care of. And the menu's kind of like a multi-course with options, so you kind of get to like create your own tasting menu, if you will. So I like to think of it as just like kind of laid-back elegance.
And you said the menu, you actually kind of get to pick and choose. Mm-hmm. Is this a different style that you've incorporated?
No, not really. It's a price fix, but there's just like multiple options there. So it gives you like the style we're trying to give you, but where you can still kind of go to your specifics, like your tastes.
Mm-hmm. And when it comes to the actual food, what kind of food can people expect from AFICI?
I would say good food. Just like kind of like contemporary American. We're very kind of seasonal driven. Being in Northern California, you know, you have the best ingredients here. Mm-hmm. So we try to hit on those. And then pasta's a huge focal point. I've been making pasta since I was like this big.
Really?
So, yeah.
Before you knew how to walk?
Yeah. Right about the same time, you know what I mean? So we really are very pasta heavy. It's a whole own section of this menu. And then we tie it in with just kind of like full animal butchery and like in-house charcuterie, which is a love of mine since I was also this big.
And we can also see actually the video up right now, some pasta, homemade pasta that's being made here. You probably take so much pride in, you said you've been doing it for so long, you probably take so much pride, right?
Oh yeah, I mean, that's why it's part of the restaurant now. You know, it was like the things I loved and wanted to incorporate into the restaurant, that's what we went with. And I love making pasta. I made it with my grandmother when you know, I was a baby, so still making it now.
And that's a small part of who you are as an individual that you brought into this new restaurant. What other parts of you can people find in AFICI?
Well, I always say AFICI is the restaurant I always wished existed that didn't. So I like to say everything about me, but you know, charcuterie, man, when I was a little kid, there was like 4 things I ate. It was yogurt, cucumbers, buttered noodles, and charcuterie. So, so charcuterie is a big part of my life, and so is pasta, and you know, that's kind of what I bring to the table.
Now, the grand opening was actually this past weekend. Can you tell us a little bit about how that event went?
It went really smooth. Leading up to it, we had a lot of kind of like friends and family and mock services, so we were able to iron it out. So when we opened the door to the public, it was really smooth and everything went great. And the staff is great. We're able to get a staff. It's a small staff, but they're killing it right now. And like, you know, shout out to the whole staff over there because they're doing great things.
And you mentioned the staff, but something else that's super important to running AFICI, where you source the food. You mentioned how California has some of the best ingredients out there. Why is it important for you when it comes to where you get the food from?
Well, I mean, there's a sustainability thing, but also just like when you go from like specialty farms and the market, the flavor of things, you know, carrot actually tastes like a carrot. There are places I've worked where you have to take the carrot, juice it, cook it in its juice, and then blend it for it to taste like a carrot. And, you know, luckily we're in Northern California where all these products actually taste the way they're supposed to. Right now I'm from the Bronx, New York. Right now we're doing Bronx grapes. And the crazy thing about Bronx grapes is they originate in the Bronx, but you can only get them in Northern California.
That's so crazy.
Yeah, it's crazy. So having those like high quality ingredients at your fingertips really kind of like is important.
Yeah, and that's what makes AFICI AFICI.
There you go.
Right? Well, thank you so much, Eric, for joining us here on Live in the Bay. We appreciate it.
Wonderful, thank you.
To learn more about AFICI or to check it out for yourself, you can head to aficisf.com, and we'll also have a link on our website at liveinthebay.tv.